Good morning all, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Just make sure that you have something to write on and obviously write with, and be prepared to ask as many questions as you can think of for EPQ. We'll be starting in a few minutes. If you have any questions for me that you want me to answer now, I'm very much able to. I'm pretty sure that obviously the rest of the PowerPoint in this lesson will cover any questions you have, but maybe just have a list of questions ready. I'm more than happy to answer them for you throughout the session, as well as if you want to wait until the end of the session. We'll officially start in just one more minute. Okay then, right, let's get going then. So good morning everybody. This is the EPQ Extended Project Qualification Taster lesson. It's going to be a little bit of information overload, but any questions that you do have, feel free to put it in the chat and I'll answer them throughout the session. And also if you wanted to talk, please, you can wait until the end of the session or put your hand up and we can have a discussion if you've got any questions or anything regarding EPQ. So welcome to the session. Hopefully you've got a pen and paper or something to write on or write with to be making notes on EPQ. Hopefully get through the boring part of this kind of information and get more into the questions. This group seems to be smaller than last group, but about the same size as the first group. So it just depends, sometimes depending on the blockings. It just depends on how many we get. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Mrs. Brooker. I'm head of year 12 and I will be again your head of year 12 in September. I teach and lead the extended project qualification as well. So I don't think I'll be teaching all 4 blockings this year. I think Mr. Dale and Mrs. Hurrell are also timetabled to teach it, so I'm not sure which ones we're all timetabled to do, but I'm delivering all of them today. If you have any questions on EPQ later on in the day or next week or over the summer, then I'm the person to email and contact. So what is EPQ? EPQ is majoritively an independent project that you set up. You choose a topic, you choose the question, you choose the style of project you want to do. Okay, you put together the planning, the time management, the organization. You do all of that, and it's mostly done on your own. The teacher's job is there as someone who will guide you. At the beginning of the year, we will be more hands-on. We'll be looking at your proposals, your ideas, we'll be refining them, discussing them with you, making sure that they are exactly as they need to be to have a really successful project. We will also be helping you through your researching and putting things together, checking your drafts of your write-up and of your creations. We'll also be there while you are presenting your work to us. You'll have deadlines. EPQ has lots of like big deadlines that need to be met, but you also would do well to create your own kind of miniature deadlines as you go along. So EPQ, all in all, as a nutshell, is a independent project that you come up with and you write the essay for and you do all the research for, with some guidance from me. Mostly my job will be the marking at the end and making sure you're on the right tracks. That is a nutshell of what it is. Now, why should you do it? I think, and I'm really gutted that I never got a chance to do EPQ when I was doing my A-levels many years ago, because it's such a big passion project. Do something you are super interested in. If you are not interested in I don't know, football, don't do EPQ on football. But you can literally do it on anything, and I will talk to you about the subjects a bit later on. But whatever you do choose, it needs to be a passion project. It doesn't even have to be a subject that you're currently studying or want to study in A-levels. So if you do maths, chemistry and physics, for example, you still could create an art piece or a media piece or a music piece, or write an essay on child development or the Olympics. You know, as long as the subject you choose is a passionate subject, that's all that matters. You don't have to do it based on your subjects. And actually, I find it's almost like a nice welcome break to not have to do your EPQ on a subject that you are spending 2 years studying as well. You will develop independent skills all the way through this. I think this is really important. Arian, you've got a question.
For example, if we do a PowerPoint based on anything for our EPQ, are we going to share it with other people in our classes?
So in terms of the presentation, you will not be delivering that whole presentation to the whole class. It would be with me and 5 other people. Sometimes you eventually go, actually, I don't mind doing it with these people in my class, and you do the presentation as we've had this year. Other people decide that they would rather bring 5 of their friends in and book a particular time to do their presentation in. So they would be the only ones to really have a look at it in terms of the presentation. The essay itself will just be shared with myself, you, and I assume maybe your parents may want to have a look at it as well.
Okay.
Is that okay?
So it is going to be shared with some students, right?
It will be, because it's a presentation, and you need, in order to get the high marks, you need to have audience interaction and you need to have an audience in there. So it will be shared, but you get to choose those people that you share it with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But that's something you wouldn't need to worry about until, like, you know, April time next year. Okay, so in terms of your research skills, you're going to have lots of development of that. Not just, you know, if I said to you, go research something, even myself, the first thing we do is, oh, let's load up the internet. The internet has it all, which it does. It has a lot, but it doesn't have everything. And in order to get those really cool marks that all of you would be looking for, you need to develop your research skills to more than just websites, more than just books. Have a look at podcasts, videos that are out there, articles, interviews, going out and doing your own research. So you can be developing all those kind of skills as well. You'll be developing, and you'll need to develop, your organizational skills. Your time management skills are massively important, because you are the ones who are organizing the whole thing. you're the person in the driving seat working towards your end goals on there. So if you're not organised, you are going to struggle. Obviously, as a teacher, it'll be our goal to kind of keep you focused, keep you organised, try and keep you on the right track. But there's actual marks in the EPQ on time management. And if you're able to meet all the deadlines and do the things you need to do and show that you've actually used your time well, then you can get quite a lot of marks just for that. Some of you have asked, lots and lots of people ask every single year, is there any point because I want to go to uni and they don't care? Well, most unis love EPQ and they do accept it. And this includes top universities, the Russell Group universities that some of you might be thinking about. So yeah, they do accept them. They do like them. It doesn't always have to be in the subject that you're going to do at university if you fancy doing that. Some prefer it if it's in that field, but really it is up to you. And you shouldn't aim your EPQ on what you want to do at uni. It really needs to be something that totally interests you and takes you forward this year. It is worth half an A level in UCAS points, so it is really worthwhile doing. And it's definitely something that will help you along the way. It gives you a bit more to talk about in interviews, really. You're going to be doing university interviews, job interviews, apprenticeship, work placement interviews, all that kind of stuff. You're going to be talking to people about who you are and what kind of person you're like. And having something more than your subjects to talk about would be really interesting. And within your studies, having something like an EPQ project is really kind of beneficial for you. You can talk about, you know, how you've overcome certain struggles within the project. It might be something to do with, you know, talking about a passion that you have as well. So it is definitely something that makes you a little bit more of a whole person rather than just the academic side of it. And that kind of links into the skills. So I'm just going to put them all up on there so you can have a look through them and see what's there. Creativity, you do get to choose. You get to be creative. And again, it's got to be something you're interested in. Otherwise, you are just going to get bored very, very quickly. I've had just over 50 topics and students that have just finished their EPQ projects. And the ones that were really passionate about their topic are the ones that have done the best. And those that just picked a topic because they thought, oh, I'm kind of interested in that, they struggled. They finished the project, but they struggled. So, you know, the element of creativity, and you don't have to, and I'll go through the styles of like the types of projects you can do a little bit later, and you'll understand why creativity works quite well there. So independence, I've said that already, you're going to be doing most of it. You'll have weekly guidance by us, so lessons to attend, and in those lessons you'll be getting on with your work. You might be having one-to-one sessions with the teacher, and definitely filling in an activity log, which I'll discuss later. You have to make all the decisions. We can guide you, we can give you support, but in the end, you are the one that is deciding how this project works and how you're going to kind of start it and get to the end of the topic. Initiative and enterprise, as I've said, looking at various sources, making sure that you are planning your time management and organisational skills. You're going to be doing this EPQ on top of 3A levels, which means you need to juggle your deadlines. You're going to need to plan and organise your time. The first half, excuse me, of this year, doing EPQ is probably the hardest part because you start with nothing and you have to build up to something. After Christmas, it becomes refining, adding bits in, editing, in terms of your work plus a presentation. So really the first term is, I would say, the hardest term. If you can get through the first term of EPQ, you will be all right, because on the other side of Christmas, it's just finishing and finalising your essays, and it's putting out and planning your presentations. Critical analysis is going to be really important, something that you do all the time. So it doesn't matter what subjects you do, whether it's history and English and essay based, or if it's something scientific and mathematical and You still have to justify, evaluate. You still have to be able to formulate arguments and ideas. EPQ will help you with that. Almost forces you to do it because of the nature of the project, but it will help you. And then you have your presentation. You're going to present to me and a handful of other people, usually people that you choose. And so your verbal skills will also be developed, as well as your ability to talk to an audience. Excuse me. So the different topics coming up on the board are the different things you can do it on. Oh, excuse me, I've just got a bit of a cough now. As you can see, there are loads of things you can do this on. We go from serious, quite hardcore subjects like the justice system and racism and politics to things that are a little bit more hobbies or personal interests, such as reality TV, beauty, feminism, things like sports and gender. There's so many different things that are coming up. Now, I had just over 50 students, as I said, do EPQ this year. And I would say, about 95% of the topics were unique topics I'd never come across before, and topics that no one else in that cohort, that year group, had done before. Some students did things like child development. Some looked at the way they discover language because they were bilingual, so they chose language in terms of bilingualism and development in terms of that. Others did things like how trauma affects child development. We've had students do work on and artifacts on mental health, looking at human behaviour, looking at serial killers. Lots and lots of students did serial killers and psychology of serial killers this year. We've had a discussion of music and history and how different times and events in history can develop the music that's going on at the time. We've looked at things like rap and politics, horror movies we've had, and how that, you know, relates to possibly violence. Lots of scientific stuff. Today, this year, we've also had a student talk about I think his question was Einstein truly the scientist people say he was, or was he as good as they say he was? And it's really interesting the different things that they've done. You know, on the same spectrum, I've had students create pieces of music that link to when a hero and a villain are introduced in Disney movies. I've had students look at video games and the music that's portrayed in video games as well. You know, I've had students look at the TV license. There's so many different things that students have done. And what you can see in front of you is just a literal drop in the ocean of topics. So many different things. It's all about your own passion. We've had quite a lot of gender in sports and equality in sports this year. We've had quite a lot of, like I said earlier, the psychology of serial killers, and kind of some went down the scientific biological route, some went down the social route. We've had quite a bit on race this year as well, whereas the year before there was loads on music and history, lots on mental health and even conspiracy theories. So there's so many different things that you can do, and actually it feels like there's too many different things, but you have to narrow it down to things that are really interesting to you. It's important that it is something that is super interesting to you. There's so many things that you can do, but in the end, whatever topic you choose, you need to have some form of question, a debate, something that you can discuss and analyse and argue with it. So, you know, you can't just say media and its power. It might be something about, you know, should the media outlets have so much power? Could it be something about the harmful effects of reality TV on celebrities? Or, you know, it could be anything along those lines. You know, are genetically modified foods acceptable? I think something that someone did on GM foods this year. So there's lots of different things, as long as it's a discussion and a question that you can come across. Now, the types of projects that you're able to do, and I'll put the first two up there quite big because they are the most important ones. They are the ones that most people do. So before anyone asks and before you think about it, there isn't an easy option. There just isn't. No option in easy. EPQ is not easy. It's very independent. Some of you might find it really easy, hard work, but easy enough and enjoyable enough because you're doing something you enjoy. Others will just struggle all the way through it, and it all just depends on who you are and how you kind of work with your management of time. So you have the dissertation. Now, this is what the majority of people choose. We're so used to writing essays in your GCSEs and your assessments. We're so used to essay writing. So a lot of people choose this for comfort and familiarity. They are to write a 5,000 to 6,000 word report on that topic with an evaluation and an eventual presentation that goes along with it. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh my God, 5,000 to 6,000 words, that's ridiculous. It is very, I can say very dense in the number of words, but actually I've had students that started in September thinking I'm never going to get a chance, I'm never going to get to 5,000 words, and then get to their final edit and they have to take words out because they've got too many. And again, it all comes down to the topic and the questions that you're trying to answer. And that's why it's so important that you talk to your teachers, and we will be quite in your, not in your face, I guess, probably quite heavy-handed, quite opinionated on how you do certain things, because we're trying to guide you to get the best kind of question possible. The other option is the artifact. Now, this is a physical thing which you can do in different forms. So it could be a script, it could be a video that you record, it could be a website that you create, it could be a piece of artwork or prototype, lots and lots of different things. In the past, we've had loads of artwork, scripts and music pieces. That still comes with a 1,500 word to 3,000 word report, because you still have to have your abstract, your intro and an evaluation in there. So you still need to be able to have some form of writing skills, but it's less because you are eventually making a product that will answer a question or cover a topic. Examples have been like I said, the opening and so the intro and the outro to Disney Heroes and Villains. Someone's made that piece of music, recorded it and played it. Another student's done, in terms of music, looked at World War I and what the soldiers went through, and then created and composed a piece of music to show the different things and stages that soldiers experience. A student this year that's just left, she created 6 or 7 canvas paintings, all related to different mental health issues. So one was focused on anxiety, one was focused on depression, and there were 6 or 7 different ones, so 6 and 7 different art pieces, all part of her artifact. Now that sounds really exciting, but my biggest warning is the artifact takes more time to do than the dissertation takes to do. Okay, that's really important for me to say. Yes, this artifact might feel like the easy option because it's something you don't have to write so much, but actually if you're making a piece of music, or you are writing a script, or you are making a model of something, that physical work takes a lot more time than writing a 5,000 to 6,000 word essay. So artifact is something I would only ever really suggest someone do if they, one, got a really good skill that they can use. So if they're really good at art or music, or they are fantastic at filming and editing or something like that. And then I would say, if that's the case, that you would then be spending many more hours outside of lessons doing it. You might have to organise your time around being able to get into a studio or sitting there physically drawing drafts of things. Dissertation you can't do. You cannot do the dissertation in just the lessons. None of these things are just in the lesson. You will have to spend at least 2 hours a week outside of your own time, outside lesson time, sorry, completing your EPQ, because if you don't, you're never going to get it finished on time and you are going to struggle. So there is no easy option, but there are options more linked to your style and what you like and can do and what your strengths are. So if any of you have any questions so far, please feel free to either ask, as you have been doing, or put it into the chat. I know there's quite a lot of information so far. I've got a little bit more to go through with you, but please feel free to ask those questions. I'm just going to pause there for a moment so I can have a bit of a drink. Right, thank you, Amber. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a common theme, if it's executed well, Amber, it doesn't matter. It's, as someone who marks the EPQs, it's really nice to have something unique. But really, if you are passionate about something that you know someone else has done in the past, it doesn't matter, because it's your theme. You're going to be doing your own research on it anyway. You won't be copying what they've done. You might even think actually you're taking a slightly different angle to them or what other people have. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to try and make it unique. A lot of them seem to kind of turn into that. Yeah, I think some of the most unique and most interesting ones is to do with people's hobbies. And then there are other people who are thinking about university and career paths, and then those are usually the ones that are a little bit more common in terms of the themes. Hope that helps. So your year will look like this. This is just a 1-year course. So in year 12, you will do your 3 A levels plus this EPQ. In year 13, you will just carry on with your 3 A levels, and that's it. So this is just a 1-year course. And in that 1 year, and to be honest, I'm going to be very, very honest, the first 6 bullet points where it says main project draft, that's all in the autumn term. They're all small things, apart from the activity log, which runs all the way through. But they're all, like, a couple of them are really small things and others are quite large pieces. But this is what I mean by, if you manage to get through to the end of this autumn term, and you come back in January and you're raring to go with your next part of EPQ, you'll find the second part really easy, because you'll be expected to do a project proposal form, which is basically your ideas. We will do a to-do list, a task planning lesson, all the different tasks that you think you're going to need to do. We're going to be looking at Gantt charts. Some of you will love Gantt charts, some of you will loathe them. And that is up to you if you use them or not, but I'll at least have them out there ready for you in case you do. And it's more about not just knowing what you need to do, but planning how long it will take you to do them, and also when within the year is best to do that particular task. Some of you might find things need to be jiggled around. Every week you'll be expected to fill in what is an activity log. This is really important because it helps to give me evidence of your time management. What have you done that week? What went well? What kind of things have you come across that you thought didn't work? How are you going to overcome those issues? All of that goes in your activity log. You're going to be spending most of the autumn term, or at least half of it, researching. Absolutely loads of research to do. You need to have more research than you can use. The more research you have, the easier it will be to write your essay or create your artifact. And research for artifact creators is just as intense as it is for essays. So I had a student who did stop frame animation as her EPQ project this year. She not only had to research the whole point of what is stop frame animation, she researched model making, set making, how you film it, how you edit it. Her stop frame animation was based on Japanese children's stories. So then she had to research Japanese children's stories and how those artists create their characters. So there's a whole lot of research that could work with what it is you're trying to do. You'll be asked to do a literature review. Now, a literature review is simply telling me, this is all the research I've done. this is how good this website was, how good this particular book was, how effective and useful this video that I watched was, all those kind of things. So it's basically reviewing and analysing all the research you've done. And then you have your main project draft. As I said, by Christmas, that is what you would be handing in to me. Your main project draft, that includes your essay or your artifact. That will then have some very detailed feedback to it and telling you what you need to do, what's missing, how to improve, all those things. You'll get that back in January, and then you'll spend the next month or two focused on improving and finalising your artifact or your essay, whichever one it is you choose to do. You then write your evaluation, and then once you've handed the whole big project part in, the last thing you do is the presentation, and that's usually around April, May time. So this year, everyone finished by the time we got to May half term. Everyone was done, and that is it. Then you don't obviously have to attend lessons once they're done. There is opportunity to make improvements, but the more feedback I give you after those formal feedback slots, the less likely you can get highest marks based on the fact that some of them talk about independent work with limited or some guidance. So the more guidance I give you outside the ones that I'm allowed to give you, the less likely it is for you to get those higher marks. I know it almost sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that's the way it works because it is an independent project. So no more questions popped up on the chat so far. So I'm going to show you. Oh yeah, as I said already, it was all in 1 year. I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing for your summer task. Now, this is on a Word document. Literally, a copy of the slide is on a Word document in the files section. So obviously, I want you to be looking at that as well. But I'm just going to talk you through it. So if you were sitting there thinking, well, I really want to do it, but I'm not sure what kind of topics to do it on. I want you to start off with, and your summer task is to choose 4 topics that you're interested in. For example, mine would be sign language, baking, love horror movies, and advertising, for example. And then I would use those 4 topics, and for each one I'd write down 2 subtopics or areas that I'd like to cover or potential questions. So let's take horror movies, for example. I would do something like maybe the final girl, the final girl in horror movies. There's already a theory out with that, so I would probably do a little bit more detail and talk about how it focuses on gender as well. My other topic could be the 15 and the 18 rating. Could it be something to do with how maybe some movies should be 18 rated, or how different movies over time have been recategorized and reclassified. Or I could do something about horror movies for kids, if that could be a topic. My advertising topic could simply be the role, if I think of 2 subtopics, I might go with something like the role of representation in women in adverts, see how that's changed. Or I could go with toys and advertising, something that I'm quite passionate about. And then I would kind of look at my topics, and for each of these questions, I'd write down maybe 5 points, 3 to 5 points that you would go. So your mind map, you're going to have 1 page per topic, and you can see the pages and examples there. You've got more than 1 page per topic. You've got more topics for a page. You can start like that, and then I think as you get along, you're going to find that you need more space. Doing something like this on an A3 sheet, hand drawn, or a big sheet of paper, works really well because you can get everything down on paper and then maybe tidy it up if you wanted to. So for each of those questions, I might write down 5 points. So let's take the toys in advertising. So my main topic is advertising. One of my subtopics would be toys. Now for each of those subtopics, a couple of points. So I might say, actually, if I'm doing toys and advertising, I want to talk about gender roles in advertising, how they make sure that when they're advertising dolls, it's always girls with the pram and the little baby, and how when they're advertising constructions things, why it's always boys, and cars, it's always boys, that kind of thing. I might then talk about, within that topic, I might talk about the colours of toys. When it's a girl's toy, why is Lego pink and purple? But when it's boys, why is Lego yellow, red, blue and green, which I would imagine are very neutral colours. I'd also maybe talk about the representation of STEM in toys. Okay, so looking at those different type of subjects, that technological subjects in there. I might even go with, you know, what do I think is the future of gender toys? And actually, you know, we have so much about gender and equality, yet look at all these toys and how they are not equal. So for each topic, I want you to delve a little bit deeper, because by the time you get to the end of number 3, you'll find that some of your topics have got loads to talk about and you can narrow things down even more. And you might find that some of your topics don't have enough. And those are the topics you want to push to the side. So you do this for all 4. 1 to 3 should be done for all 4 of your topics. Okay, or 2 and 3 should be done for all of 4 of your topics. Then you get to number 4. I want you to split them. I want you to throw away 2 topics and keep 2. And for each of these topics, I want you to write a 250 to 500 word summary of that particular topic that you're doing. So mine would be on advertising with toys, and it might be I'm going to go with the final girl in horror movies or something like that. And I'd write a little summary about what the topic is and what I want to investigate in it. Now, the reason why I ask you to write this for summer is because when you do your proposal and when you start your draft, your introduction, you are going to use this summary to help you with that, because the summary kind of covers what you need to do in an introduction. Not completely, but mostly covers what you need to do in an introduction. Okay, so that's perfect. If you're sitting there thinking, well, I know exactly which topic I'm going to do, that's fine. You can just skip to number 4 and go into writing that summary of that one topic. My only concern there is if by the time you get in September and you spend a lesson talking to other people and you change your topic, you're going to have to redo all of that, which is fine. I've had students come in with 1 topic, 4 topics that they want to do, and they actually end up doing a completely different topic to the one they did over the summer. Okay, and that is fine because we change over summer. There's, you know, for you guys, you've got another 6-8 weeks and lots of things can happen in that time. Okay, so if you get this done and you want to, and you're kind of getting into a little vibe and a little bit into a bit of a kind of rhythm with it, feel free to begin your research. What I would say though is before you start your research, as you begin it, you need to write down what websites, what research what your sources are. Okay, so if you look at a website, if you watch a film, if you listen to a podcast, note those down. It'd be even better if you can tell me what information you got from them, but that's not as essential as noting them down. Okay, if you tell me what you researched and where you found that information, that will help you later on in the year when you need to be putting together your literature review. Okay. My throat's hurting now. I've got to do this one more time. If anyone has any questions and you want to unmute and talk, feel free. If you want to put it into the chat, feel free. I'm going to type it in right now as we're speaking. I'm going to give you my email address as well, if you didn't know it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Just make sure I typed that correctly. Yeah, feel free to email me with what with any questions that you've got, anything you want me to see or check or anything like that. More than happy to do that. I'll definitely look at it in this week and next week, and over the summer might be a little less checking of my emails. I'm try not to stay anywhere near them for the most of the holiday. So that is the end of the lesson. We've got another about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask. But if you're happy with everything, then feel free to leave the lesson, and hopefully you have one more lesson to go to. Hope you have a good day, and then we'll see you later. I'm doing a question and answer session at 1 o'clock with the head boy and head girl, so feel free to come along to that. That's a generic whole of year 12 type of thing. So thank you very much, guys. Right, it's got Nathan, 2 main topics or 2 subtopics? 2 subtopics, sorry, Nathan. And you might find actually as you're doing it, I only want to write a summary about one particular topic because that's probably the one that I would do. That's fine then, not a problem. Sorry, Aaron, you had your hand up. What are you going to say?
For EPQ, do we need to buy our own textbooks, or are we going to be provided with textbooks?
There's no real textbooks. I've got a few books where you can got research and kind of what they call like more like study guides and things like that. We have all of that, but there's no specific textbook that you need to buy and that we provide. It is because everyone does a very different subject and topic. It all just depends on that particular one. But we'll be teaching you the skills that you need to start off with and then letting you go off on your own.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so if
Also,
there are...
for this transition work, are we able to access it on the Shenley sixth form website?
Yes, yeah, so this is going to be added onto the Shenley sixth form website. I've also put it onto the EPQ taster channel on the files. So if you wanted to, you can just quickly grab that as well and save it in your own documents, because it's just a Word file with this slide on it. But it is also going to be put on the website.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem. We have access to previous EPQs in September. You will, I will give you bits of it, other people's EPQs. So you'll see small amounts of other people's EPQs. I can't give you the whole project. Oh, that was a postman. I can't give you the whole project because obviously it's data protection and all that kind of stuff, but you'll see what really good proposals look like, what really good referencing, etc. looks like as well. So if you're happy, ladies and gents, that is the end of our session. I'll continue to stay on to answer any questions. You can type it, you can talk to me, but other than that, you can go. A good EPQ, really good organisation is the first thing. A topic that you clearly have researched and you are interested in makes a good EPQ. And then obviously, depending on whether you do a dissertation or an artifact, it's a really good finished product as well. Some people don't do so well on the writing, but their presentations are like top marks because they're better at explaining things and writing. So yeah, but organisation, research, and really a love for the subject you're doing. Whatever that topic is, you should really like it. That makes a good EPQ. Commitment as well.
All right, thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Amber.